You see two wines on the table. There should be three. But you know what? F it. I couldn't find the third bottle today. So what you're seeing is two out of the three in this wonderful, beautiful experiment that we get to share with you today. You know, a lot of folks ask us about the whole, by the way, we're in Spain right now, okay? Viva España. And a lot of folks constantly ask us about the whole, yeah, Crianza, Reserva, Gran Reserva, talk to me about this. And so today we're going to talk to you about it. And we're going to talk to you about it within the context of Ribera del Duero, which is one of the greatest appellations in Spain. To me, it is kind of like the Napa in Spain. Rioja is like a bigger spot. It has a greater diversity of price points. Ribera del Duero, I would say, is a little more luxe location, right? It's the closest kind of high-end appellation to Madrid. You know, you get out of the airport in Madrid in the north there, and that's probably 2 hours or something, and you can be in the Ribera del Duero. And accordingly, the Ribera del Duero is the place for the tour, you know, high-end tourists, high-end luxury wine weekend type stuff. And the wines are amazing. The Ribera del Duero is great. Think about it. Vega Sicilia, Pingus, you know, think about these amazing, exclusive, beautiful, wonderful wines. They all come from the Ribera del Duero. And one of the great iconic producers in the Ribera del Duero, a producer that you can't miss, because they're in the Golden Mile, that same area as folks like Pago de Caro Vejas, as Vega Sicilia, as Finca Villa Creces. They are in that Golden Mile, this beautiful nugget of vineyards, and it's Arzuaga. And Arzuaga, you know, it feels like a super traditional property, but in fact, it was founded in the early 1990s. So it's a pretty new property, but it was founded just as Ribera del Duero started to blow up, as guys like Pesquera and folks like Vega Sicilia became even more well-known and started coming into the international spotlight for fine wine. And Arzuaga kind of rode that wave. It is a beautiful property, right? It is, oh my gosh, it's 3,500, I had to write this down, 3,500 hectares. Wow, that's a lot. With 10% of that planted, so 350 hectares are planted to grapes. The rest of it is like a hunting preserve. You can go hunting on the property. They have a Michelin-starred restaurant. They have a hotel. I mean, these guys do it all, and they do it really, really well. But what they also do is they also put a focus on the classical aging scenarios for Ribera del Duero wine, the classic Crianza Reserva and Gran Reserva scenarios. And in this case, they kind of go above and beyond those levels. So today I'm going to show you, we're going to taste one of the wines, but I'm going to go through the three of them with you. We're going to start with the Crianza, right? So this is the Arzuaga Crianza. Here we're talking 90% Tempranillo, and the rest Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot, which is totally allowed in the Ribera del Duero because of Vega Sicilia. These grape varieties were grandfathered into the appellation and approvable varieties for the appellation. In this case, I think the Crianza wines need to age for a minimum of a year in wood before they go into bottle, and then they can age for a short period of time and be released. In this case, Arzuaga, they age there 16 months, right? So this wine gets a little extra something. And 30% of this wine is sourced from 100-plus-year-old vines. 70% of it is sourced from young 30-plus-year-old vines on the Arzuaga estate. French and American oak. See, the point here is we're going to go through just the different aging and qualitative scenarios. And I would open the Gran Reserva, but it's like really expensive. There's only 12 bottles. If I open one of these, one of you is going to miss this wine. We'll get to that in a second. So, and this is just classic as it gets. You feel the oak, but in this wonderful classic Spanish way, the way you should feel the oak. Oak is not a bad thing. If it's not obtrusive, if it's part of the game plan, then oak is a wonderful thing. And here, oak is a wonderful thing. It aids and abets the Tempranillo. It smooths out the tannins. The extra, that 16 months aging creates a more dynamic version of Crianza, which is, I wouldn't say entry level. They have entry level wines in the Ribera del Duero, what they call cosecha or Tinto Joven wines that are unaged. They're aged just in stainless steel and bottled after 3 months. And in this case, this is the first layer of the premium wines, shall we say, in the Ribera del Duero aging hierarchy. Okay. Beautiful color, silky. We love Arzuaga's wines. And I have to say, when we tasted this wine back in December, It was like, bro, this is the best Crianza you guys maybe have ever made. And they didn't fight us on that. We didn't get any blowback on that. Arzuaga, it's a 30-year-old winery. They're still developing, they're still growing, and these wines are getting better and better and better. And this wine is beautiful, classic, textbook Ribera del Duero Crianza, but in a great way. The tannins are soft and silky, less of that overt kind of fuerte, kind of rustico aspect that Ribera del Duero can throw into the mix once in a while. Absolutely stunning, beautiful, gorgeous Crianza, and they just absolutely nailed it. This wine was the impetus for doing this piece today. Now, don't mind if I do. In the middle, there's a Reserva, which I said I couldn't find the bottle. The Reserva is amazing. The Reserva is 27 months aging, 96% Tempranillo, with 4% Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot. And for the Reserva, this is how the hierarchy works. As you go up the line, the wines do more aging. You're using better quality fruit that can endure the aging process and on the back end create a more compelling wine. That's the plan here. That's what they do. And in this case, 80-plus-year-old vines for 90% of the wine for the Reserva, with 10% being those 30-plus-year-old vines in the La Planta estate. And then finally, they have the Gran Reserva. The Gran Reserva is 38 months in wood. So you go from 16 to 27 months aging in barrel to 38 months aging in barrel. And this aging in barrel, if you keep great track of the wine, which of course they do in Spain, they're the best at it in the entire planet. As you keep track of the rackings and the oxidation of the wine, you can slowly oxidize these wines into the silkiness, this warm, creamy sheen of tannin, which is abundant because of the inherent raw material in the wines, but there's a silkiness and a suppleness that goes into that barrel, plus bottle aging that creates these magical, magical wines. This is all 100% from 100-plus-year-old vines. Actually, the Tempranillo, sorry, it's still 10% Cabernet Sauvignon Merlot. 90% Tempranillo from century vines for the Gran Reserva. All three of these wines are profound, beautiful, and textbook examples. So the point of the piece today is you should try a little bit of each. Now, granted, some of you, the guys that don't click in early, you're going to miss the Gran Reserva, right? There's only 12 bottles. But we do have an abundant quantity of the Crianza and the Reserva available to us. So at the very least, have the Crianza and Reserva experience. See for yourself how they make the delineation with these wines. This is deliciously educational. And we wouldn't put this in front of you unless all the wines were serious enough to have this conversation about. And I gotta say, 2026 is Arzuaga's championship season. All the new releases, all these current releases are really beautiful, great wines from one of the icon, steadfast, blue chip wineries in the Ribera del Duero. You wanna learn and you wanna enjoy learning at the same time? This is a must. Pick up some of each. Some of you are going to miss the GR. It's okay. Jump into the Crianza and the Reserva. You will be rewarded tenfold. Click, buy all three if you can. Only 12 bottles of the Gran Reserva. Ding, 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 ding. Like us and subscribe immediately, or as they say in Spain, immediatamente.